I can still twist your little mind.
And why do you say that?
Police interrogations certainly provide an interesting glimpse into the psyche of the suspects, as people often reveal their true colors under the stress of being held in an unfamiliar environment for unspecified periods of time. So today, we're going to show you some of the weirdest interrogation you will ever see.
Yeah. You have a seat, man. That way I can sit down.
First off, I'm going to tell you about 22-year-old Russell Jones, who is a bit too inspired by the Joker.
As a kind civilian that also knows how to manipulate cops, tell him to release Gavin. I can still twist your little mind.
He's been brought in for interrogation for helping 15-year-old Ellen Fryer and her 19-year-old boyfriend, Gavin McFarlane, murder Fryer's dad. Right from the start, Russell takes charge and tries to assert his dominance. As we'll see throughout his interview, he will try his best to hold on to this sense of control.
Like, I protect people, like I said.
Here, Russell calls himself a protector, and during the entire investigation, he keeps citing his involvement in a protection business.
Because they are both under my protection.
Now, while this may objectively be the truth, I'm sure you must be questioning if it is made up. Russell's unwavering belief in bizarre, improbable, or simply false things is the hallmark of delusion, and in many cases, this belief persists despite evidence to the contrary. It is important to point out here that Russell had previously disclosed his autism.
Who was her father's name, you know?
All I know him as
If I know.
is Aaron. That's all I know. Of course, then again, I know, like, Aaron Martinez, Aaron, her father, but I don't know his last name.
As we just saw, his unprompted ramblings about unrelated individuals named Aaron is an instance of circumstantial speech, which further validates his diagnosis.
Seriously? I can do it on my own, damn it.
Notably, the detective refrains from interrupting him, employing a strategy to foster comfort, aiming to encourage him to reveal significant and potential incriminating information. Jones is given a drink, some McDonald's, and a smoke break to ease his discomfort, and is then left alone in the room. Isolation is one of the tactics employed in the Reed technique. This typically creates feelings of vulnerability and anxiety. But as you will see ahead, Jones's reaction is completely different, and he begins to divulge small details of the terrifying truth.
The morning of the incident, defending a female. Now here's the thing. I know the cops' twisted little pathetic rule game.
Another strange thing about Russell is that he doesn't seem to realize the gravity of the situation and begins to play with the recording device.
Not worth $6. It's worth a lot more.
Presumably playing the role of a supervillain. As we have seen until this point, Jones is quite confrontational with the cops, making jokes about stereotypes and openly disregarding authority. We have also witnessed his delusions of grandeur, and all these signs point to some kind of abusive situation in his childhood. As we shall see in the clips ahead, once Russell is left alone, he indulges in some sort of imaginary conversation. This could be an instance of auditory hallucination, which is a symptom of psychosis. However, when later questioned by a cop, he refuses having been diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Any schizophrenia?
No.
His threat to release his bipolar,
The nice way, or we can do it the hard way and I can release my bipolar. Let's make a deal. Do-do-do-do.
and Russell seems to be completely detached from reality, thinking that the cops would abide by the time limit set by him.
There. Or I say no more. Punk.
After leaving him alone for a sufficient amount of time, the cops return, and right away give him a reminder of the cigarette break as a way to show that he now owned them something, preferably information.
Now all I need is a cigarette and I'll be happy. But I doubt we can, though.
You want to get a smoke?
Sure.
Do you have any smoke?
I got some in my desk.
Are we allowed to smoke now?
Yeah, we can go outside and smoke.
Oh, outside.
Can we go outside and have a cigarette real quick?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
Russell actually falls for this tactic and ends up confessing his role in the murder, revealing that the three of them had disclosed many methods for carrying out the plan. You might have noticed his use of the word beating instead of killing, which is a way of psychologically distancing himself from the actual events.
Front seat of a passenger car with him alive and drive him across California?
Yeah, that was my idea.
Okay.
Killing was not my idea. Self-defense would be if her dad came at him.
Right, and there's no evidence of that.
Versus
Because
him getting mad that her father, Aaron, tried to sleep with his daughter.
Okay.
Individuals diagnosed with autism often have a rigid idea of right and wrong, and in Russell's case, he seems to think that punishing Aaron was justifiable. Ultimately, Russell was convicted of conspiring to commit a felony and sentenced to 7.5 years in prison, while Ellie and Gavin got 25 years and a life sentence, respectively. The second case will definitely have you rolling on the floor. 17-year-old Quantrell Schwartzler was brought to the Rock County Sheriff's Office in Janesville, being arrested on suspicion of strangulation and an assault. Security footage captures a police officer leading the teenager into an interrogation room before briefly leaving the room unattended. Once alone, the handcuffed boy swiftly scans the room before turning around to open the blinds. He then pushes open the 12-foot-high window and casually dives headfirst out of it, yeeting himself out without any fear. The footage from another security camera shows him sprinting across the yard with his hands still bound, reminiscent of a cartoon character. Upon returning to the room approximately 14 minutes later, the detective is taken aback to discover it empty. However, his attention is immediately drawn to the open window, prompting him to realize with a curse as he realizes that the suspect has executed a daring escape. The teen was caught almost 4 hours later. During his hearing, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison, along with 4 years of extended supervision for second-degree sexual assault, strangulation, and battery, as well as felony escape. Stay tuned to know about a totally unexpected stone-cold killer. This is 60-year-old Cynthia Sidibaca, who was brought in for interrogation after her son-in-law, Geoward Eustaquio, was found dead within his own home, covered from head to toe with 12 holes. The police apprehended Cynthia at a coffee shop shortly after the murder, and she immediately burst into tears upon hearing the news. However, we will soon see a dramatic shift in her behavior when asked about her opinion of the victim and the reason behind it. Ever since she had survived a stroke, Cynthia had been living in Fallbrook, California, with her daughter, son-in-law, and their 2 kids. She reveals that Geoward was verbally and physically abusive to his children and had even strangled her daughter, Laura, once. The detective once again asked if somebody had tried to stop him, showing concern and repeating that he needed to be stopped, perhaps to try and build rapport with the suspect. But even she wouldn't have expected what came next.
I was guilty.
As her instant admission of guilt, Cynthia narrates the spine-chilling she had purchased the murder weapon, a small revolver from a munitions store, and even visited a shooting range a few weeks ago to hone her skills, making it a premeditated murder. After emptying all 5 bullets, she made her way back to her car to reload the gun, and fired the second round and then a third one as well. Unlike most cases of planned murders though, Cynthia was completely nonchalant about the whole thing.
Check to see if he was dead.
I didn't care.
It's clear that she truly doesn't care, as she went on to celebrate his birthday with breakfast, coffee, and gambling after murdering him. And her answers are crisp when asked about feelings of remorse.
About it?
No.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
But what she did ahead when the detective confirms that he is indeed dead was completely shocking.
Thank you. Oh boy.
This is highly unusual, since the suspects don't usually show so much excitement or enthusiasm during interrogations. Cynthia was stoic during her daughter's breakdown, and many think that her previous stroke could be the reason for her complete lack of empathy. The interrogation of the stone-cold granny from the initial denial to complete admission took a total of 10 minutes, and her answer on being asked to pray even shocked the detective completely.
Pray to. You make sure that
I don't
you
pray to anybody.
call us a higher power.
Prayed today.
Okay.
First time ever prayed.
What'd you pray for?
Hope he died.
3 years after the murder, 65-year-old Cynthia was sentenced to 50 years in prison. That's all for this video. Let us know your thoughts on these weird confessions.